private label is an ongoing threat, and the stigma is gone basically on private label, assuming you have good brand equity as a retailer.
One of the things I always look for are the people that are acting as the consumer and shopper that we want to go attract, right? So everybody on my team and teams previously, they lived their life, operating digitally. They know, they shop that way, they behave that way. And so I think you still have to have the digital acumen, but you can be a traditional brand marketer.
But this program is so sensitive that if we had touched it or messed around with it, our customers would probably revolt and stop shopping with us. So we had to have the courage to find a way to take this program, enhance it, make it better, not change what's already working. And that's hard because people want to come in and just change things, so they feel like they have to. But the team that led this was smart. So how do we take what we have and just make it bigger and better? And that's where Giant Choice Rewards comes in. It's our new digital-first loyalty app that's been in test market for about a few months now. It'll be live in all stores by the end of this year, and it gives customers the freedom to choose what they want.
We've grown our comps in food and beverage in each of the last 8 quarters, and market share in each of the last 7.
So day one at Groceryshop just ended. It actually was just a short day. We had about 2 o'clock. It started about 5:45 right now. Heard from some great leaders from Target, Kroger, Boxed, tons of different people that are doing some great things with digital innovation. I tended to stay in that kind of area today. I'm going to be spicing it up a little bit tomorrow and doing a couple of other things. We got 3 more days to put in a bunch of information into my head here. A lot of opportunity for me to learn a bunch of new stuff, hopefully bring it to some of my clients. I'm going to be heading back to the hotel now. You guys are going to recognize the hotel because I'm actually going to be staying at the Palms Place again. So a little bit different of an outfit that I wear for Groceryshop. This is day 2 here, just show you guys the outfit. A little bit different than I wear for like a Mr. Olympia or a fitness event. Obviously the people there dress a lot more casual, but I'm in kind of the other 50% of my life on the CPG and grocery industry, and they dress a little bit better. So I gotta look the part a little bit. I don't wanna look like I'm standing out. So this is kind of the outfit for today.
Well, the circular may not be broken, but it's starting to show cracks, right? Shoppers today don't shop the way that they used to.
Protein and plant protein, all part of the same continuum. And the stores have absolutely responded, and as we've seen, in fact, they're building out these sections often right adjacent to the meat.
I have this really bad thing where there's the good kind of Che and the bad Che sits on each shoulder. Good Che was extend out that hand, shake his hand, introduce yourself, there might be a biz dev opportunity here. So I was like, oh, I was about to do that. Bad Che was tell him we all don't look alike, man.
If you do look at the landscape right now, it feels like there have been a lot of these brands that have reached maybe 100 to 500 million, and that maybe 500 million is the new 1 to 2 billion, because it does feel like the world is changing incredibly rapidly, that consumer preferences are just so diverse and disparate right now that there kind of almost is a smaller brand for everyone. But I also think, as you think about the space where I have spent the most time in my career, it has been mostly these good for you or better for you brands within food and beverage. And the industry is still kind of young. Food seems to be the final frontier in e-commerce, so I do think that we'll continue to see a number of these interesting M&A transactions where a company has really figured out how to build a smart e-commerce model, and it won't just be take in a boatload of cash, blow your customer acquisition costs, and create a business that's not actually sustainable and can't make money. It'll be these stealth businesses that are doing $100 million online with a 30% EBITDA margin that have figured out how to crack the code.
This is a great idea. From Campbell's, it's a brand called Intelligent Cuisine, and this brand was going after a consumer market of 76 million consumers that were afflicted with cardiovascular disease, high blood pressure, and diabetes. They spent $55 million developing the brand over the course of 7 years, and they even did something that was amazing. They hired a pharmaceutical detailing company to go out and convince doctors and healthcare professionals to recommend the brand. They shipped it directly to the house via a common carrier. Sounds like it's a pretty good idea. Well, they did this 22 years ago. It was the 1990s, and there were obviously some executional issues regarding the friction.
It's an idea of influence. And in this world of social media, we're seeing that consumers are more empowered than ever through both technology and information that's available at their fingertips. We're seeing that retailers and brands have a little bit less of kind of direct influence on their purchasing decisions. At least that's what consumers are telling us, right? And we see that this is happening. So what's influencing shopper decisions? We're seeing that the fastest growing influences in shopping decisions is still that user reviews.
So guys, I want to apologize for the lack of flow in this video. I am not the best vlogger at times, and I don't really consider the bridges between different topics. So when I was rewatching the footage and trying to put it together, I actually noticed that I jumped from the grocery shop kind of footage around the expo, and then I jumped right into some celebratory burger and shake that I ate from Black Tap Burger, which is a famous New York restaurant that they have a location in Las Vegas. And then I kind of showed you guys around in Las Vegas, which I used to live in about a decade ago. So I wanted to make sure that I jumped a little bit back and shared my thoughts around the Grocery Shop conference, and also share what I noticed in terms of differences between the Grocery Shop conference and the Mr. Olympia, which I was at a few days before that. If you guys have not watched the Mr. Olympia vlog, I will pop up a link here for you guys to watch that video. But just want to start off by mentioning some things that I really enjoyed about the Grocery Shop conference. I'll say first off is that it was extremely well run. The smallest details were considered. There was a ton of things packed within the event, and for them to be able to keep that on schedule and also keep everybody engaged was a feat in on itself. I thought the educational tracks were diverse. It really kept me engaged, really kept me interested. I don't think there was really any times where I struggled to find a particular track session within the time slots. It always was kind of the opposite, where I ended up maybe two that I was really interested in. I had to pick between one or the other. In my opinion, the final day, Wednesday, was the best day out of the Grocery Shop conference. I really enjoyed the deeper dive, hour-long sessions that were different than maybe the 30 or 40-minute ones that were the first couple of days. I also just enjoyed the conversational aspect of it. There was also a Q&A element. You could understand what the audience was looking to learn from the session, which was different than the other sessions because it was more of like interview based. It seemed to be scripted at times. There was a lot of like layup type of interviews that really just didn't show the strength of the panelists, and it definitely did not show the strength of the moderator or the interviewer. So I just kind of more appreciate like if somebody can understand the micro and the macro around subject matter and be able to kind of conversate around that, really show that they are subject matter experts. But overall, I thought there was a ton of really good sessions across those 4 days. And if you guys do remember, I also, as like an ambassador influencer at Grocery Shop, one of the things that I got picked to do was to co-host a sponsored dinner for 30 or so executives that were attending the Grocery Shop. So it was at a very nice steakhouse. The dinner was great. It was actually with a company called Relics. They are a merchandising inventory optimization program. They do a bunch of other things, but one of their clients is actually the Vitamin Shop, so I was familiar with a little bit of what they do. What I'll say is that it was extremely fun. It was great to talk to a bunch of interesting people. What I did not realize is how tough it is to be kind of the MC or the guy that's involved with making sure everybody is entertained. 30 or so people, it's tough to make sure you're kind of playing the room up and really doing that very well. What I'll say is that I'm one of those people that if there's an interesting conversation going on, it's very hard for me to get out of it. I get really engaged with interesting conversations. Now, if it's not going interesting, it'll obviously be something that's easy to play out. But I was getting involved with a lot more interesting conversations, so it's tough for me to kind of play the room, which I definitely need to improve on when I'm doing this next time. Now, I just want to cover the two events, like what is the difference? Obviously, the Groceryshop conference, this is a B2B conference. Then you have the Mr. Olympia Expo, which is a consumer-facing expo. So on its basics, it's definitely a different experience. So I'm not going to talk about the obvious things. I'm going to be talking about the B2B side of both of them. And the biggest thing that I noticed, and I've mentioned this to a bunch of my industry friends over time because it's something that was very noticeable to me this time because I did do these conferences right back to each other. A lot of times I have weeks between the conferences, so I don't maybe notice this as big. But what I'll say is when I was at the Mr. Olympia and I was having meetings, maybe just conversating with some of the industry leaders, talking about CEOs or VP level or higher industry people, and you start to talk about maybe specific things around how they overcame certain challenges that you knew that they just overcame, or maybe it was even questions around how did they meet the need in the market through marketing or some other strategic initiative. You tended to get an answer that was extremely surface level or honestly just avoided at all cost and just kind of laughed at that somebody would be asking a question like that. And the surface level thing is because they honestly didn't want to give up some secret sauce or whatever they thought that they would give up by talking about this in a public forum. Now, on the other hand, when I did this at Groceryshop and talked to CEOs and VP or higher level professionals within the grocery, retail, and CPG industry, they would answer those questions very thoughtfully. They would answer them fully. They would give any insights possible that they could to help me understand the question in which I was trying to seek an answer to. And I think what I noticed more starkly than I normally do is just the maturity between the industries. And I'm not talking about the people. I'm not calling the supplement industry people immature. But what I'm saying is that the larger category-focused CPG brand professionals and retailers understood that sharing information is part of this kind of untold fiduciary duty to better the industry for the future. The more collective knowledge that's within the industry, the bigger and stronger it can become in the future, which I believe it should be the goal because you would all benefit from that bigger and better future. Collaboration and collective learning is the most powerful thing you can do as a professional. I give away thousands of hours of insights, and I get asked every single day why I do not charge for these insights that I'm providing. And the answer I always give is very simple. I believe it's my job to give back to the industry that has given me so much. I want to share my thoughts and hope that it creates conversations amongst the business leaders that can better everybody's future. My hope is that I could be the change agent for collaboration and learning in an industry that desperately needs it to get out of the shadows and into the mainstream, which will provide everybody a bigger opportunity. So I'll get off my high horse, go back to this Vegas vlog footage. I hope you guys enjoy it. You guys get to see the big burger and shake that I got to eat. So instead of working for the next 2 hours, I'm going to be showing you guys around the Las Vegas Strip. I used to live here back in 2009, 2010, so it's kind of like a homecoming for me. But if you haven't been to Vegas, maybe this will show you a little bit about why you need to come here. If you go to Vegas all the time, maybe this will just give you a taste to come back again. So the Visit Las Vegas people or the Tourist Bureau or whatever of Las Vegas, please send me a free night. Not that my YouTube gets that many views, but hey, I'm helping you guys out.